Welcome back to the newsroom for Between the Ashes, the Growing Silence here on Paladin Gaming. This is its state at the end of the campaign after the last mission. So we have one new news article and 3 new editorials, so we will start reading. Weapons fire at Altair jump node. 3 hours ago, Hammer of Light raiders transited the Aldebaran jump node and engaged blockade forces, leading to the destruction of the PVC Medjed, PVC Hemiset, and HLC Simi. While the blockade forces struggled to reorganize, multiple freighters and fighter wings evaded them and jumped to an unknown location. Due to damage sustained in the fighting, the Imperial ships were unable to gain a subspace tracking fix. It is likely that the Hammer of Light intend to set up hidden depots from which to raid Imperial shipping in Aldebaran. 10 minutes later, the PVD Concord and its escorts entered Altair, but were engaged by a Hammer of Light defense force and forced to withdraw with moderate casualties. This battle marks the first engagement with the Hammer of Light since the Battle of Sar, and the terrorist group's first confirmed aggressive action since their involvement in Antares. That is not true. So far, the Hammer incursion appears limited to Aldebaran, however, their previous behavior has shown them to be highly unpredictable, and all citizens are advised to prepare for a state of emergency at any time. What the Ancients call ancient. Antares' disregard for old GTA classifications has proven once again to be a huge boon for my investigation. While I was in transit to Antares, most of the old research team got back together. Apparently getting some measure of revenge on the pirates who stole the project of a lifetime is pretty good motivation even now. They'd managed to hold on to a few pieces, minor components that escaped the pirates' notice, and of course had backups of their data, so we met in a discreet location to go over it. Firstly, the Shivan components. The team's Shivan specialists had a lot to say about those. They have the same structure as the arms of a Seraphim-class bomber, where the ship's electronics warfare system lives, which gives them a leg up on understanding them. He thinks they're the Shivan equivalent of a sensor jammer or ECM jammer, retuned to be most effective against other Shivan systems. In other words, an anti-Shivan cloaking system. He also said that Shivan technology is roughly as organic as the Shivans themselves, which I'd rather not know, to be perfectly honest. The ancient components seem to be a control system, according to the xenolinguists who translated their markings. They'd allow an ancient computer to operate the stealth tech. Pretty straightforward, aside from the part where it's interfacing with the corpse of a semi-organic murder ship. The ancient writing didn't stop there, though. There was some on the unidentified components, but they're not original, and literally translate to elsewhere bottle. This was speculated to be some sort of drive system, but without the original object, they couldn't be sure. Other ancient markings describe it as millennia old, a relic of a civilization ancient even to the ancients. Perhaps they too were a victim of the Shivans in their day, but that's speculation. What isn't speculation is that there's more to this object. The team believes it was originally a scout ship or possibly a stealth fighter. As we talked that over, something unexpected happened. The team lead had been pretty quiet the whole time, and when she finally spoke up, she said she knew something the others didn't. She'd been briefly, on a GTI project which made use of at least some of the other components. She wasn't told much beyond a list of things to report and a code name. The meeting didn't last long either. Didn't last long after the reveal that their leader had been withholding information, and I'm all the more curious for it. If anyone reading this knows anything about Project Enidum, oh god, please reach out. I think it's at the center of all this. Ahemait, Nkmurah, Massada. Yesterday, put out a call for anyone with knowledge about Enidum. Today, I missed my transport home to meet with such a person. I hope you appreciate the sacrifices I make in search of the truth. He's taken a Terran name which I've been asked to keep secret, but was once known as Ahemait. That was back when he'd worked on Enidum itself. Yes, you read that correctly. Ahemait had worked on an alliance station called Massada, which developed the core of the system. His experiences with the project had been so traumatic that, after the Antares Federation declared independence, he decided to disappear into the milieu of Antares' Vasudan expat community, until, quite literally, 6 hours ago. After the Battle of Deneb, the Alliance and the Imperium were staring down the possibility of extinction at Shivan Claws. Enidum was an attempt at retroactive revenge, an autonomous weapons system which would activate in the event of total extinction and carry on the fight. Ahemait and his Vasudan colleagues were invited to represent the Imperium and lend their perspective up to the project. Ahemait worked under the GTA's Colonel Nkmurah, yes, that one, on integrating one of the Ophosis components, a non-local subspace sensor tuned to detect Shivan signatures at strategic distances. While there was some tension along cultural lines, the project seemed to be moving smoothly, at first. You see, Inadam was developed under the auspices of GTI. When the Hades rebellion went hot, existing tensions among the development team went hot along with it. Now they weren't just arguing about strategic heuristics for their weapon to use its strategic sensors effectively, they were arguing about whether to deploy the incomplete system on one side of the conflict or the other. The fighting ended abruptly when someone powered up the prototype with instructions to leave the system and conceal itself. The ensuing chaos as GTI rebels, loyalists, and Vasudans seized whatever ships they could led to the death of most of the team, ending with Ahemait being stranded on the station for just shy of a year. That's a lot to take in, isn't it? It was hard for Ahemait to talk about too, but it does confirm something important. The Inadam prototype's out there somewhere, and it has components Holly wants. So where is it? What's the Alliance doing to keep it away from them? Or have they lost track? You're behind the times there, PI. And finally, a forthcoming silence. Well, that's it. The Alliance didn't like me poking around their dirty laundry, and they sent the Frighteners around to Estelle's place. It seems a little too little too late, if you ask me, what with the news coming out of Adhara, but governments have to have their secrets, or at least the pretense of having them. The Alliance doesn't know who I am, and I thought that'd be enough to keep them from trying to bully me into submission. I didn't count on them going after my friends. So there you have it. No grand reveal about our missing signatures, just an incomplete superweapon designed by a government that likes to point guns at journalists. You win, Admiral whoever. I wonder how long you'll have to enjoy it. Well, that was the final, at least until the third-part installment of the newsroom for Between the Ashes for Freespace 2 here on Paladin Gaming. This is Paladin Gaming signing off.